Hello everyone, it's Seth, probably better known as Saffron Olive, and it's time for another instant deck tech. So today we are heading across the ocean to Japan to check out a pretty sweet Bant Superfriends list. This one was played by Tobasawa Takanori, so congrats to Takanori on his sweet deck. A quick reminder before we break it all down, if you enjoy this deck and want to see it made into videos, take a minute, click the like button, the subscribe button, leave a comment, anything you can do to support your deck, because whichever deck is most popular gets a shot at being made into videos next week. So Bant Superfriends, you probably remember a little while ago we played a Naya Superfriends deck, which was also an instant deck tech, and had some pretty good success with it. This is a really neat build because it is similar to that deck. It plays a lot of the same cards, but instead of going into red, it goes into blue for a couple of key cards and some sideboard options. So we got the Super Friends package, Nissa Voice of Zendikar, Gideon, Ally of Zendikar, and Narset Transcendent, one of the blue main deck cards. So the deck plays a lot of spells, so the benefit of Narset over something like Chandra is not only is Narset cheaper, but it's almost draw a card, well, not every turn, but every other turn because you hit the lands in there. But there's a lot of spells in the deck, so not only are you drawing cards, you're drawing a lot of powerful cards. Nissa and Gideon, they're pretty well understood just to be very powerful in good cards in Standard. Then we have some Planeswalker Matters cards. Oath of Nissa. When we get to the sideboard, you'll see how important this card is to the deck due to its mana fixing for Planeswalker's ability. But it also cycles through the deck, finds a creature, a Planeswalker, a land, helps you keep finding what you need in the right situation, and it gives the deck a turn 1 play, which it would otherwise be lacking. And Oath of Gideon makes some tokens on defense. You can also pump those tokens up with your Nissa, with your Gideon. So it's just a pretty solid card. The extra point of loyalty on Planeswalkers is nice, but there's no real combo with it other than it allows your Gideon to come into play and immediately ultimate and stay alive. Otherwise, it's just an extra point of loyalty. Creature-wise, this probably looks familiar. Sylvan Advocate, Tireless Tracker, Archangel Avacyn, basically the same creature base as the Naya Super Friends deck we played. And then there's also a single Oblivion Sower. Not 100% sure why the single Oblivion Sower. It's big. It can get you some lands, and the deck is fairly land intensive. But as a one-of, might as well give it a shot. Then there is Secure the Waste. So this kind of has a little bit of a tokens feel to it. Secure the Waste at the end of your opponent's turn for 3 or 4 or 5 tokens. Untap into Gideon / Nissa, pump up the tokens. That closes out a lot of games in Standard. Just a really powerful effect. Removal-wise, there's a bunch of options. Declaration in Stone, Quarantine Field, Stasis Snare, Dramoka's Command, all 2-ofs. So kind of a variety of removal. Each are better in different situations. Declaration in Stone is the best at just killing a creature, but at sorcery speed. Quarantine Field is really expensive, but it can hit Planeswalkers as well, which otherwise could be a weakness for the deck. Stasis Snare is instant speed, but a little more clunky than Declaration in Stone, and you get blown out by something like Dramoka's Command. Dramoka's Command just does a lot. And then the other blue card in the main deck, 2 Clash of Wills, just some counterspells / protection. And then a single Seasons Past, which I don't see any real combos for Seasons Past. I think it's just for value. Ends up drawing you 3, 4, 5 cards. So perfectly reasonable. There is a pretty good variety of mana costs in the deck, so you should be able to draw quite a few cards. It's also sweet because it gets back Oath of Nissas and Oath of Gideons that you've Legend ruled. So there's some synergy there. Mana base-wise, a bunch of dual lands. Lumbering Falls is a creature land, a couple of Westville Abbeys, combos well with the token production from the Planeswalkers and Secure the Waste, and then the Evolving Wilds basic package. The sideboard is where it gets really crazy. So looking at those lands, we only produce blue, white, and green mana, but in the sideboard we have a black Planeswalker in Sorin Grim Nemesis, and a red Planeswalker in Nahiri the Harbinger. So we are leaning 100% on Oath of Nissa to be able to cast these cards. There is not mana in the deck to cast them, so the only way we ever get them on the battlefield is Oath of Nissa. Then, since we're super friends, might as well just keep playing Planeswalkers. Got a Jace Unraveler of Secrets, pretty good in control matchups. A Sarkhan the Unbroken, same deal. And then we even have Nissa Vestwood Seer. Den Protectors can get back a Planeswalker that's died, get back some removal or counter spells. Then we have some more counters to protect our Planeswalkers, Negate and Stratus Dancer. And then this is kind of an aggro-y package. Linvala gains us some life, Descend upon the Sinful, clears the board, maybe gets an Angel, and then Orbs of Warning can kind of blunt the damage from a bunch of tokens or small creatures. And that is Bant Super Friends for Standard. The deck is pretty spicy, pretty interesting. I'm curious to know how it compares to the Naya Super Friends list, which, like I said, we were pretty successful with. Anyway, I hope you enjoyed today's Bant Super Friends Instant Deck Tech. Thank you very much for watching, and I will talk to you soon.